Panthers, we are taking a look at section 3.2, adding and subtracting decimals, and we are going to look at decimals with negative numbers today. This is so exciting. First of all, I want to apologize for the Minnie Mouse voice. I know it's kind of annoying, but we'll get through it. So make sure you have your notes in front of you and your pencils. And we're going to go through this video. I think it will be somewhat short. So we have some rules here and some steps to follow. Again, this is kind of combining two things that we've talked about so far. We've talked about what to do when you're adding positive and negative numbers, so we have to remember those rules. And then also yesterday we looked in class about how you add and subtract decimals. So we're just going to combine all those today, and we're going to add and subtract negative decimals. So here we go. When you're adding or subtracting decimals, please make sure, remember, to rewrite all subtraction problems as addition problems and follow the integer rules. If you remember, if you have more positives, your answer is going to be positive, and if you have more negatives, your answer is going to be negative. And also, if the signs are different, you subtract, and if the signs are the same, you add. So once you have your problem set up, rewritten as addition if necessary, then you are going to rewrite it vertically, lining up your decimal points, filling in any blank spots with zeros, and then you're going to add or subtract. And one thing I want you to get in the habit of is estimating all of your answers. When you're working with decimals, it's very easy to get the decimal point in the wrong spot, and then your answer is going to be way off. So if you do a quick estimation, round your decimals to the nearest whole number, and then add or subtract, then you can just kind of double check to make sure that you have the right answer, you're in the right ballpark. So let's take a look at a couple of problems, addition problems here. The directions tell us to add. So as we start here, we need to remember our integer rules. I have a negative plus a positive here. So it's an addition problem, which is fabulous. So I don't have to rewrite it or anything. So next step is to decide, do I have more positives or negatives? I have 11 positives and only 4 negatives, so I know my answer is going to be a positive. I'm just going to put a little plus sign down here just to remind myself. And then the signs are different. So despite seeing that addition sign, the signs are different, so I need to subtract. Now remember, you take the larger absolute value, which is 11 and 3/10, and we're going to subtract 4 and 55 hundredths, okay? And I'm going to subtract these, and I'm going to remember that my answer is positive, okay? So, Panthers, remember, if we have any areas that are not filled in, we're going to place 0 placeholders there, and now we can go ahead and subtract. Now I can't take away 5 from 0, so I'm going to borrow from the 3. And 10 minus 5 is 5. And I can't subtract 5 from 2, so I'm going to borrow from this 11. I'm going to make this 10. And now I have 12. 12 minus 5 is 7. Bring down my decimal point. And 10 minus 4 is 6. So I end up with an answer of 6 and 75 hundredths. Let's go ahead and estimate. A negative 4 and 55 hundredths would round to a negative 5, and 11 and 3/10 would round to 11. Panthers, just by estimating, if I took negative 5 and added 11 to it, I would be at positive 6. Now, they're not exact answers, again, because we rounded, but is 6 close to 6 and 75 hundredths? You betcha. So you know that you are probably correct with your calculation. Moving on, letter B. Remembering our integer rules. Again, this is an addition sign, so I'm going to leave everything alone. Do I have more negatives or negatives? The answer is negative, so I know my answer is going to be a negative. I'm going to put that right there by my answer. And here the signs are the same. They are both negative, so I am going to add these. So Panthers, we have 16. Again, 16 is a whole number. I know you don't see a decimal there, but remember, even though it's not written there, it belongs at the right of the number. So we have 16, and again, the signs were the same, so we are going to add. And again, when we add and subtract, we want to make sure the decimal points are lined up. I need to place some 0 placeholders. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and add. 0 plus 4 is 4. 0 plus 4 is 4. Bring down my decimal point. 6 plus 6 is 12. Carry the 1, and we get 2. For an answer of negative 22 and 44 hundredths. Let's go ahead and rewrite this, estimating. A negative 6 and 44 hundredths, that 4 tells me to round down to negative 6, plus a whole 16, negative 16. Here again, the signs are the same, so 6 plus 16 is a negative 22. Again, Panthers, is that pretty close? You betcha. Moving on. Once again, this is an addition problem, so I don't need to change anything. I have more positives or negatives, Panthers. I hope you're saying negatives. So my answer is going to be negative. And here the signs are different. I have a negative 10 and a positive 8, so I need to subtract. Again, I'm going to write the larger number on top. And Panthers, please remember, the larger number is not always the longer number. The larger number is the bigger whole number, so please make sure you pay attention to that. And again, the signs are different, so we are subtracting 8 and 33 hundredths. Let's go ahead and place our 0 placeholder here. We have 2 minus 0 is 2. 7 minus 3 is 4. 9 minus 3 is 6. Bring down my decimal point. And 10 minus 8 is 2, for a final answer of negative 2 and 642 thousandths. Let's check, Panthers, if this makes sense. 8 and 33 hundredths would round to 8, plus a negative 10 and 972 thousandths would round closest to a negative 11. Oh, the cheerleaders are out there. Oops, negative 11. The signs are different, so I subtract. I have more negatives, and I get negative 3. Panthers is negative 3, close to negative 2, and 642 thousandths. You betcha. Oh, look at they're cheering for us. Okay, let's move on to some subtraction problems, and then we'll wrap this up. So, Panthers again. We don't really care for subtraction problems. Let's make this easy on ourselves. Remember, instead of subtracting, we add the opposite. The opposite of negative 2 and 8 hundredths is positive 2 and 8 hundredths. So let's take a look at this new problem. Panthers, do I have more positives or positives? Hopefully you're saying positive, so I'm going to make a little note so I remember. Signs are the same, so we add 5 and 34 hundredths plus 2 and 8 hundredths. Again, notice I lined up my decimal points. And let's go ahead and add. 4 plus 8 is 12. Carry. 3 plus 0 plus 1 is 4. And 5 plus 2 is 7. Again, putting in my decimal point. And if we were to estimate, 5, the 3 tells us to round down to 5, plus the 0 tells us to round down to 2. 5 plus 2 is 7, which again, yes, is pretty close to our answer of 7 and 42 hundredths. Letter B, Panthers. Again, don't touch this negative sign on the 28. The only thing you do is instead of subtracting, you add. And if I cover up my addition sign, I have 15 and 911 thousandths. The opposite of a positive 15 and 911 thousandths is a negative 15 and 911 thousandths. Okay, Panthers, do I have more negatives or negatives? I hope you're saying negatives. Okay. And the signs are the same. They are both negative, so we need to add these. I have 28. And again, the decimal point comes after the whole number. And I have 15 and 911, and the last place value is thousandths. We'll get our 0 placeholders, and we add 0 plus 1, 0 plus 1, 0 plus 9. Bring down the decimal point. 8 plus 5 is 13. Carry. And we end up with a negative 43 and 911 thousandths. Let's check. We had a negative 28. Doesn't need to be rounded because it's already whole. Plus a negative 15, and this 9 tells us to round up to negative 16. Panthers, we have more negatives. The signs are the same, so we add 28 and 16, and you get an answer of 44, negative 44. Are these pretty close? You betcha. Moving on. Letter C. Again, instead of subtracting, we add. The opposite of 6 and 106 thousandths is negative 6 and 106 thousandths. Okay, so here we go. Do I have more negatives or negatives? Hopefully you're saying negatives. And the signs are the same. They're both negative, so we are going to add the absolute values. Here we go. 5 plus 6 is 11. Carry. 7. 4. Decimal point. And 15. Negative 15 and 471 thousandths. Estimation. This 3 tells me to round down to negative 9. Plus, this 1 tells me to round down to negative 6. Panthers, a negative 9 plus a negative 6 is a negative 15. Are they pretty close? Check. Now guys, let me just reassure you one thing here before we close up. Yes, we are checking with estimation, but is estimation always going to catch your little adding and subtracting errors? And the answer is no. So please, when you estimate, it does not guarantee you have the right answer. What it really guarantees is that your decimal is in the right spot. So please remember going forward, just because you're estimating does not guarantee you had the exact answer, but you are in the ballpark. Panthers, it's nice talking to you. I will see you later.